Hello, everybody. This is Ron Dittmars talking to you from the Erasmus Academy recording studios in Brooklyn, New York. And this is the beginning of a series on Franz Kafka, especially focusing on his story called Ein Bericht für eine Akademie. And this is it's a great short story. And our guest speaker today is CJ. CJ, you want to say hello?
Hello again.
Great. Okay, he's been guest speaker on earlier occasions. So here you see a portrait of Franz Kafka in his early years. His dates are 1883 to 1924. He lived in Prague and very, very famous for his short stories depicting personal inhibitions, anxieties, and fantasies, and transforming them into highly imaginative stories and novels that were far ahead of his time. You're probably familiar with Franz Kafka. And here is just a picture of a scene, a typical scene in Prague where he lived. Not necessarily his own neighborhood, but just a typical scene of that. And this is the text we're going to look at. The story is a report for an academy. And so our normal procedure we will follow. It's just I'll be reading aloud the sentences, and CJ will repeat after me, and please repeat with him. And then I'll ask him specific questions to deconstruct the sentences, and that way we'll step by step together move toward an understanding of the text. Now, I should say in advance that this is a fairly difficult and complex text, and it would represent a level probably above what you would expect on a graduate university language proficiency exam. So a lot of people who are listening to this, maybe preparing for proficiency exams. So you can actually download the text itself on the Friday before the week, and you'd have the whole text, and you could translate that as an exercise, and then listen to the explanations day by day as they're presented on with the series. Great idea, don't you think, CJ?
Definitely. Just like the recordings in the summer program to help go over work you already done.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so here we go. This is the 25th portion, the first section. So here we go. Hochherren von der Akademie, everybody.
Hohe Herren von der Akademie,
Sie erweisen mir die Ehre, mich aufzufordern. Go ahead.
Sie erweisen mir die Ehre, mich aufzufordern,
Der Akademie einen Bericht über mein effisches Vorleben einzureichen.
der Akademie einen Bericht über mein effisches Vorleben einzureichen.
Okay, so this is just let me see if I can get the pen working here. Can you see this, CJ?
I can.
Okay, good. So this means high or honored gentleman of the Academy. Here you have up to here, the verb is obviously erweisen, which means you grant. Sie, obviously referring to them in the formal sense, Sie, you grant to me the honor. And then auffordern means to call upon or to summon. So you grant me the honor to summon myself. This is the direct object, summon myself. And then what is the to summon myself to do what? What is the complementary infinitive that completes the meaning of that?
Einzureichen,
Good. And ein zu is placed in between the separate prefix and the main verb, or the stem verb. So you summon me to submit. And then what's the direct object? This is the verb to submit.
einen Bericht,
Good. Einen Bericht, which is a story. A report. And then to whom? Where do you find that?
der Akademie,
Yeah, so this is in the dative. Remember, German dative subsumes sometimes the preposition that our English ear sort of wants to listen to hear. So to submit a report, we would say to the academy, but to is subsumed in the dative case here. To the academy. And then regarding, and then this takes the accusative here, regarding my ape-like for life, or my earlier life, my former life as an ape. You could express it that way. Okay, you want to just do that whole first sentence there, so we can follow it,
sure.
CJ?
High lords of the Academy, or gentlemen, you provide me the honors, or the honor to summon myself to submit a report to the Academy
Mhm.
about my um, simian past life.
Simeon. That's a good way to do it. Okay, going on. In diesem Sinne kann ich leider der Aufforderung nicht nachkommen, everybody.
In diesem Sinne kann ich leider der Aufforderung nicht nachkommen.
So as you may have become familiar with, we always, in analyzing more complex sentences, we always try to identify the verb complex first, the subject second, and the direct object third in that order in order to identify the core sentence, and then everything else then should fall into place. So where's your verb complex in this sentence?
Kann nachkommen.
Good. Nachkommen means to comply. So how would you translate that with a pronoun?
I can comply.
Yeah, since I is a subject here, it's I can comply. And obviously it's negated here with nicht. So I cannot comply uh, in this sense. Uh, um, and this is an adverb leider. And then what would you comply with?
Uh, der Aufforderung.
Yeah, again, just like der Academy, um, to comply with normally is the adjective, the preposition we use in English. So, but with is not there, but simply subsumed in the dative case here. So, in this sense, I cannot, unfortunately, comply with the request. Okay, going on. Näher zu 5 Jahre trennen mich vom Affentum. Everybody?
Näher zu 5 Jahre trennen mich von Affentum.
Eine Zeit, kurz vielleicht am Kalender gemessen.
Eine Zeit kurz vielleicht am Kalender gemessen.
Yeah, good. Let me just, so we're going to go from here. Now, just up to this comma here, where's the verb?
Trennen.
Good. So how would you translate that? With a pronoun?
To okay. They span.
Good. It means they
Yeah.
divide. So they divide. So you would say they divide. So once you have they, you know that you're looking for a plural subject. And in German, it's sometimes very difficult to find the subject in the sentence. So that's the method where you can arrive at the subject most efficiently. So you would say they divide, and then the subject is then
Ja, 5 Jahre.
yeah the year. So the core sentence now is the years divide, and then what's the direct object?
Mich.
Yeah, sorry for doing this so deliberately, but it really helps to get this system down. And then you could even draw an arrow from the verb, which is a transitive verb. It transfers its action to the direct object like that. Okay, so 5 years divide me is your core sentence. And then this is nearly 5, divide me from Ape Hood. Um, a time, eine Zeit. And then what sort of a phrase is this? Kurz vielleicht am Kalender gemessen.
Participial phrase.
Good. It ends with a participle. It happens to be a past participle. Messen is to measure. Measured shortly, perhaps, or briefly, perhaps, by the calendar. Then going on. Unendlich lang aber galoppieren. Everybody?
Unendlich lang, aber durchzugaloppieren.
Great. So, wie ich es getan habe.
So wie ich es getan habe.
Good. Okay. So, short, perhaps measured with a calendar. Unendlich lang, however. Aber means but it also means however. Endlessly. Notice adverbs have no endings here, as adjectives are required to have. Endlessly long, however, to gallop through, as I, how would you translate this little phrase?
Oh, okay. Just as I have done
Have
it.
done, just as I have done it. I've galloped through, endlessly long. Going on. Streckenweise begleitet von vortrefflichen Menschen, Ratschlägern, Beifall und Orchestramusik.
Streckenweise begleitet von vortrefflichen Menschen, Ratschlägen, Beifall und Orchestramusik.
Yeah, with music, this is a compound noun, orchestra music. And normally when you have the compound here, the accent will fall right before it. So this would be Orchestralmusik, probably is how it's pronounced. Okay, good. So Streckenweise means for certain stretches. And what sort of a phrase is this, CJ, like we had before?
Uh, uh, Participial.
Yeah, it's a participial phrase again. This is a past participle. Gleiten means to accompany. Begleiten means to accompany, sorry. So it's a past participle. So, and this is an adverb. So in certain stretches, accompanied by, and then this is means excellent, human beings, advisors, applause, and orchestral music. Okay, let's see. Going on. Aber im Grunde allein, go ahead.
Aber im Grunde allein,
Denn alle Begleitung hielt sich,
denn alle Begleitung hielt sich,
im Bild zu bleiben, weit von der Barriere.
im Bilde zu bleiben, weit von der Barriere.
So it's kind of funny. You see this for certain stretches accompanied by excellent humans, advisors, and then it gets to applause. Aha, now it's a little clue to what his career has been, and we'll see that later. And even orchestra music, that's so he's been in this vaudeville performances, apparently, as you'll see later. Accompanied by these, but basically, im Grunde, which that is that alone, and then going on uh, from here. Now, where's the verb after this comma, CJ?
Hielt sich,
Yeah, this is from halten, and it means to hold oneself. So hielt sich, he held himself or restrained himself. For every accompaniment, i.e., with all of these advisors and so on, um, restrained themselves. And then, how do you pick up the meaning of that verb?
with the purpose clause, or yeah.
Right here. Sometimes you'll have a verb and then you have a relative clause sandwiched in, and then you have the continuation of the meaning in the next clause. So for every accompaniment restrained itself far, so to complete that meaning of that sentence, far from the barrier, whatever the barrier means, we'll see. And then zu, what does zu mean when you see that pair?
In order to.
Yeah, in order to remain im Bilde, which really means in the picture, but it might mean sort in the metaphor. And it is okay. Long passage. Um, Gosh, let's see. We did. Why don't you just go from here? Can you read through your translation from in this sense? I can
Okay. In this sense,
just
I
slowly
can.
so we can follow you.
Okay. In this sense, unfortunately, I cannot comply to the invitation
Hmm.
or the. Okay. Um, Nearly 5 years separate me from Apehood, a
Hmm.
time um, short perhaps to measure on the calendar.
Uh,
Um,
short,
However,
short measured in terms of a calendar. Just the
okay,
past participle. That's all.
of course, sorry. Eternally long, however, to gallop through, just as I have done.
Hmm.
Um, uh, like
In for certain
um,
stretches.
in for certain stretches, accompanied by excellent men,
Hmm.
advisors, applause, and orchestral music, but fundamentally alone.
Hmm.
For every accompaniment held itself far from the barrier, um, if in order to remain in the metaphor.
Great. Yeah. This time, CJ properly went right from here to the last sentence to complete the meaning of that verb, and then picked up this sort of purpose or this additional clause there. Very well done. Great. So this is going to be an interesting development in this story. So we hope you come back for the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. See you later. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.